In 2024, I filled this journal with 365 ink sketches using pen and ink alone, without a prior pencil sketch, outside of the few ones that has my arch nemesis, which is text. And in this video, I'll go over the 53 weekly spreads and talk a bit about what I drew. Hello, my name is Dee, and I'm the creator of the web manga Grey Is, which is a work that I bet you'll enjoy if you end up liking the thoughts and feelings that I expressed through this journal. And now, without further ado, let's begin. January. In the first week of the year, I expressed the grief, the shock, the pain that we were and sadly still are witnessing in Gaza. Some are referenced from posts I saw on social media, some are just the pain I feel in my heart and the hope and trust in God's plan. And these two are where the patterns in the Palestinian kufiya come from. Second week, I sketch more stories from Gaza, a man that follows stray cats hoping to find body parts of his loved ones, the wish that warplanes in the night sky are shooting stars. My first guess in Wordle back when I used to play it daily was Seas or Peace. Here I wanted to celebrate South Africa for standing up in the face of evil. It's sad to find out that Gaza cannot live up to its name's definition. No one is mending the bloody wounds still. The doves of peace are still waiting. Personally, I came to this year carrying burdens, while trying my best to not fall for my dark self's greetings. This is a continuation to an old drawing I drew of a character getting off the swings, only to end up falling down here. The will of Palestinian kids is very praiseworthy. A mosque in rubbles, a moment of peace, and then a quick render of a moment from my diary about the time my dying father kissed my hand. In this week, I expressed my frustration as an artist who wants to talk about worldwide issues while being unable to. Emotionally, it's in me, but on paper, I can't put it. Still, in the end, I came to the resolution that I will continue to try whenever I get the chance. I lost a friend that simply walked away while the fire was burning between us, and I felt like expressing how when you leave the fire burning without putting it out properly, it eats away at everything, including the bridge between us. February. My life felt like a house of cards and I sat on top of it. Here I heard a line in a Lebanese song that says, "Exiled in my own country." This is a line from Bon Jovi's song, These Days. While last month I expressed that I carry burdens, here I complement it with carrying dreams. A series of vent pieces that I illustrated. The last picture is a drawing of what the hands-off approach looks like, literally. Smartphones and their smelly garbage. On World Radio Day, I drew my hand holding the handheld radio I bought from Japan to my father, which eventually was back to me after he passed away. An online friend of mine said she needs a break, and after months of radio silence, I wonder if she meant to say break away. A powerful line from a powerful speech a girl I saw online did in public about Gaza. The multi-armed character was born on this week, and it served as a symbolism to a struggle I've been dealing with at the time. And on February 18th, I decided that I want to be a pawn again. This is actually a date, not a clock. Standing on a broken bridge, which I don't think I illustrated to the best of my abilities. A girl wants to fly out, but the ropes of this hot air balloon are still attached to the ground. An existential crisis. An ugly sketch of my favorite female guarding cat that sits by the kitchen window as I do the dishes. And this quick doodle of a body. Is it flowing, a good thing? Or is it submerged, a bad thing? A line I read in my blog, bad things happen, good things are sought, and on the final day of February, I referenced another photo from a journalist in Gaza. March. More stories and photos from Gaza, people praying surrounded by rubble, the young boy who was using handmade fans to get electricity and light, another who created a way to collect rainwater for everyday use. The 10th week starts with my future or past self telling my past or future self to stop. Another illustration of something I wrote in 2020 when I got a spike in followers and fans. Another wish from me to break my phone. This is a thought I got a long time ago, maybe when Horizon Zero Dawn came out and people were talking about facial hair on one of the characters. I had to get it out of my system because this journal became a dump of concepts I have, which I might make as clean, big illustrations in the future. This doodle is currently my most popular tweet, and it made me angry. The dilemma of loving my artist self and my art, but hating who I am at the forefront representing it. This was a representation of the night sky without a moon, meaning it wasn't the first day of Ramadan, which I was looking forward to. This is a prayer for the people of Gaza, a prayer for myself asking to find a way out. A boy reading the Quran in the month of the Quran. An illustration of how seeing God's forgiveness cleanses a dark heart like rain. A saying from the Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, on how one should take the benefit of 5 before the occurrence of 5. A girl, quite literally, wonders how to climb/get over this wall of everything. And thus hitting the head makes it make sense. I often thought of birds and how on the day I put food for them on my window, even if it's after years of not putting, they still come on that day. A saying by the Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, expresses that precisely. Then a few ink sketches of famous mosques. I quite enjoy architectural sketching. And then me again praying to God to revive my heart from its death with his remembrance. I have a few issues with my left hand, and it's a recurring visual. This is a reference from a photo of a dear boy to my heart who fell while playing. The mess that is my life suffocating me, and I see God. An illustration of a saying I liked on how doing good must be like walking on damp sand. No sound, but it leaves a mark. Olive tree for Land Day, and on March 31st, I was disappointed that I didn't hear from 2 friends who often made a big fuss about that day. April. April starts with a prayer to God to fix my mind. The following day was about a sentence I loved on how we get incomplete things that are complemented by our acceptance. I then asked God to light up my heart. It's not really visible at first glance, but it's a person curled up inside a bulb. This whole panoramic sketch is about a line from a prayer that means there is nothing more comforting than running from everything towards God's side. I went through a lot the 3 years prior to 2024, and I didn't get anything positive from drawing it all out here, if I'm being honest. I so wanted to get rid of the darkness in my heart. I mourned a friendship on the 10th, and then some vent art about not meaning a thing doesn't stop it from being mean. When you're surrounded by passive people, you kinda have to shake things hard to get an answer. Man, this month is sure depressing. I happen to always be someone's only friend, and I don't know what kind of achievement that is. And then looking down the pit. Related to the magic bowl sketch, I had to explain that I don't really enjoy being the shaker, really. I love painting water with ink, and then a series of images about how the dynamic of a straightforward and confident person with another that sweeps things under the rug. I grieved Dad again because life has never been the same since he passed. I just wanted to incorporate my grayscale black and white washi tapes into a doodle. 200 days of bloody pain since the Gaza genocide started. I also have a sticker sheet of black dots that I wanted to test in an illustration. In case you missed it, this is a head, here's the nose and brows. Kinda reminds me of that thing from Berserk. And under the rain, from within the hollow heart, you can find the cover of Hope. The same idea of a doodle I drew a couple of years prior, how tears is a natural makeup remover. And the last drawing of April is my beef with my left hand again. May. I'll sew my mouth, but my mind will speak itself anyway. I often struggle with talking or staying silent. Our multi-armed character again? A badly rendered sketch of fighting tooth and nails. I think the hands should be bigger and a little tilted for it to look satisfying. I go back to the idea of always wanting to address the elephant in the room. Cats, 'cause who doesn't love a good cat snuggle? Again, my beef with my left hand. Using that same character to illustrate the saying up in arms. I checked the game outer-wise and crashed inside what I know now is dark bramble. I fell in love with it, so I had to illustrate it. A random doodle and an expression of my feeling at the time. This meant a big thing to me, I know, but I can't remember a thing about it now. Maybe it's an idea that flew off to someone else. Again, my love to doodle water and flowy compositions. This is what would look like me going into the dark reflection, but it's me bringing someone back. It's related to an old drawing I drew called Self-Earthquake, where this white-haired character of me entered inside the dark mirror. I'm just bringing her back here. A representation of what migraines feel like. I wanted to draw something pretty. My alarm clock moves around at 3 a.m. and I hate when I don't catch it. It's not that clear. This is a character that has an extension coming from its head, like an anglerfish. This is also another attempt of putting my washi tapes to good use. Praying and reading Quran, a beautiful thing. A sad visual of a kid carrying water bottles to fill up when it was extremely short in Gaza. Me over-worrying about the whole situation and talking to God about it. The night Gaza was on fire, the night humanity died. Then sadness illustrated a couple of days, and then I was speechless again. June. A peaceful sketch, a peaceful time drawing it. My favorite cutest duo. I woke up at 3 a.m. and it's my most precious time. My phone also announces the time, so one night I heard it saying it's 3 o'clock, and I smiled in my sleep. It was the most true thing I heard. Just me on the desk with my rabbit underneath. Another praying to God to give me a satisfied eye and a tranquil soul. I was contemplating if I should write more about our multi-armed friend, but decided not to. A reference from a photo of my cat. A big expression of my love for the game Outer Wilds. The moment I was lost in space without meditating, waiting for the time to pass. How I heard the traveler's theme from afar. My love for the Nomai, for the campfires, and for the protagonist. The number of screenshots I find in my camera roll when I oversleep and miss my precious 3 a.m. was worth documenting. A literal depiction of heavy-handed and short-handed. When there's a balance between challenge and skill, you reach the flow state. Also, the merging of action and consciousness. My wish to be a kite returns. Summer is when I start struggling with hypersomnia, when my eyelids close off constantly throughout the day. A rendering of a line I heard in a song. I chose to draw the layers window in drawing apps to tell the idea of how, if I act 100% normal to what people define as normal, I'd be seen. If the layer mode is set to difference, I would be locked with an opacity of 0 and definitely invisible. Tree of twin self, which I don't really remember what I was thinking about when I drew it. June was hectic with guests, so I was asking God for support. Me still not understanding a thing around me, and a depiction of how all the noisy frequencies around me, in contrast to the one peaceful frequency when I'm on my drawing tablet. July. Me hating on a mirror again. Referenced a jacket I saw online and adding the word leave to it. This was referenced from a real photo I took. Just creepy vibes of different reflections of the same man in the glasses. Another reference from a photo of my favorite boy. And looking out a snowy window. Stories from Gaza about people identifying their loved ones by very real and everyday things. I don't think anything makes this whole thing realer than this, because 10 months into it, a lot of people have started to become desensitized. I struggled a lot with the feeling of disconnection from my creator, and I continued to pray for this brick wall to dissolve. Looking for a view, even under the template. Lotuses were a thing I illustrated often in June. Echoes of the Eye DLC from the Outer Wild game, my love for the prisoner, of course. And disorientation. I have this idea for a short comic book consisting of everything I do wrong when I wake up. Because I get up every morning and do things on autopilot. My brain takes too long to wake up. So sometimes bugs appear in the system and mistakes happen. I decided to illustrate some. The last one had nothing because I'm pretty sure I made some mistakes that I never even spotted and remembered later. Here I was waiting for 2 friends for our Japanese study group meeting, and I arrived too early that day. Also, sandwiches. August. Just a series to show how much of a different person I am with my art throughout my life. August was too hectic and I dealt with extreme hypersomnia, so most of these are serial. An illustration of a state when a dear person leaves you in the back burner. An illustration of a piece I wrote in 2021 about talking candidly over and over again while getting nothing back, and how I long to not have these unrequited conversations. I totally dropped the ball on week 33. Just a doodle, me addressing dear elephants again, just me looking too hard at words again, engaging autopilot to survive the hypersomnia and my need to finish things. A doodle and then trying to illustrate the expression, that sinking feeling, using some letter stickers I got with this journal. A whole spread illustration again, one that I drew day by day though, finding a way to escape. September. Some, not all, fans can be dangerous, man. This is my top performing post on Instagram for 2024, by the way. This part of the notebook was coming apart, so I tried to illustrate hands doing the act. A small statue that my sister has. Just a doodle. Again with my hate towards my phone. These show how a confident pose can still carry a sad face. I saw a guy standing by the traffic light pole, not walking when the lights were green for walking. I liked it. Just a bookworm in a nicely decorated space inspired by my sister's house. A nice chair my sister has, a broken heart, and me talking to God on my imaginary balcony. Migraines do feel like an open head. A fly flied with us on the plane. I chuckled when I saw unfriend before friend on the word game Blossom. A doodle, a nice plant in my sister's house, a quick sketch of her kids when we went to the aquarium. Another pretty thing referenced from my sister's house, a kitty because they make things prettier. October. I wanted to use the official Inktober prompt list and draw whatever word, but in the least expected way you'd think the word's meaning would look. Started with backpacking, and then it was discover, or in my case, disc over. Boots, the third one, had a great idea, but honestly I hate restrictions in art, and on that day I didn't feel like following a list of prompts, so I dropped the whole thing. The last 3 days of September and all of October were some of the worst days in my life, witnessing meltdowns and things being thrown. As usual, I go back to my decision to not talk. With heavy feelings, I chose to illustrate how life as we know it before October 7th has changed. I wanted to doodle birds for the rest of the month because it's comforting, but daily life was suffocating. So I asked a machine for help, only for it to return with no solution, an idea that was inspired while using the ATM machine. My favorite nameless character, again, a group of ladies completely threw me off the edge on a day that was so bad as a whole. I think they'd do better arranging thorns than flowers. There are moments in life where you feel like a part of who you are, on a soul level, has to just go. The last 2 weeks of October were filled with a series of silent pictures about the darkness coming from outside, inside, the explosion, the engulfing, and the new person emerging. A cycle. November. November, the month of grey, is my series. It was the 14th November and I chose to draw things and objects from the series. The laptop black through, the bottle black through, the paper crumbled black through, the phone black through, the punch black through, the cap black through, the door black slammed, the mirror black broke in chapter 9, the cigarette black spit in chapter 5, the coffee cup White dropped in chapter 10, that time Black pulled a Killua hand, the basketball they were playing with in college, Black's bandages. I'm thankful that Black's hand is too small to kill. The towel thrown at Hawkman, Chopin, blood and broken glass, Black's broken arm. The cutter from the dream, the sorry knots in the throat, where Black questions his anger, the lighthouse, the trash can with the cigarette, White's hotel room door, the blade thrown during the fight, what Black wanted to say, the safety pin saved, the window White threw pebbles at, the present, one's own hawk feathers, the lemonade that was made but was never drunk. December. Just a doodle, an old original character of mine called Dream reappears. A meaningless doodle, those types of migraines that make my whole body tilt. Random doodle, things we carry. I miss a time where I had a friend. Talking, judging, and gossiping, those are weights on the ear. The day Syria was liberated was a day before, but I already drew that day's doodle, so the new flag was the first thing I drew the following day. Random doodle, and another, drawing my pet rabbit Chevy grooming himself. Random doodle, and a selfie with all my selfies. If you haven't noticed, many random doodles by the end in December. I honestly was stretched too thin by the end of the year, no ideas or things to express because I was extremely busy on the daily in December. So here, another random shot of my pets next to the heater. The glamorous mask versus the broken mess behind. Wearing the elephant head now. Random doodle of cats. Random doodle. I referenced a photo taken in Rabbit's Island from a photographer I follow. A random fun doodle. A morbid cooking segment. Me in my comfort zone on the floor. And by the end of the year, I realized that I'm often told I'm too much by people who made me feel like I'm never enough really. I also feel like I'm too much, even as an artist, but equally never enough. A realization that might sound sad, but there was beautiful acceptance that came with it. It was comforting, and I end the year with one last doodle thanking God for all of it. "2024 was both challenging and one where I was trying to come on terms with some personal problems I struggled with the 3 years prior. So there are a lot of depressing topics tackled. Thank God, I am at a much better place now. It was fun to do this challenge, however, I don't want to do it again, at least not anytime soon. I'm tired of carrying the same book everywhere, and I like my freedom to draw however I want on whichever notebook I have close by at any given time. I urge anyone to give this a try, not necessarily daily, but the idea of sketching with pen directly. It's such a skill that improves your lines and confidence in many areas, even if you're like me, mainly a digital artist. If you're interested in the tools and pens I used, I'll link the previous video in the description. I won't take much more of your time. Thank you so much for watching, and till next time, keep a smile on.